94 miles north of the Scottish mainland, where the blustery Atlantic meets the North Sea, lies Shetland, an archipelago of some 100 islands, mostly uninhabited. Until the late 15th century, they belonged to Scandinavia, and being closer to Bergen than Edinburgh, the islanders remain proud of their Norse heritage. Recently, new industries have swept in, supplementing the island's crofting and seafaring heritage. The most northerly island is Unst, where locals mix tradition with innovation to survive in a fast-changing world. At the heart of this community is Balta Sound, part of the most northerly parish in Great Britain, led by Minister David Cooper.
One thing that you can never do with someone living in a place like Unst is underestimate them. Isolation leads to an element of self-sufficiency. Some would find it harsh, but if you can persevere, it's boundless.
12 hours by ferry from the northeastern coast of Scotland is Lerwick, the capital of Shetland, where most of the 22,000 islanders live. But the most northerly island is Unst, another 2-hour drive and a further 2 ferry hops away. It's midsummer here, and being just 400 miles south of the Arctic Circle, the 700 inhabitants are enjoying a period of almost perpetual daylight, known locally as the Simmer Dim. Peak tourist season is underway, and the ferries are bustling with visitors. Across the bay at his manse on the neighbouring island of Yell, Minister David Cooper is keeping a watchful eye on the weather.
My life in the islands is governed by the ferry timetable. Now it's visibly the horizon of the open sea out there. It's constantly changing, and if you're really romantic, you can look at some mist or low cloud and think that you're seeing a Viking longship come out of it.
Like most rural vicars, David Cooper looks after more than one parish, spanning 3 churches on different islands. Today, he's travelling over a mile stretch of open ocean for his regular Sunday service on Unst.
But you always keep a book in the car to read if you've missed a ferry. Far from the madding crowd at the moment.
This morning's service is at St. John's, with a regular congregation of 20.
I'm a Methodist minister and under the discipline of the Methodist Church, but I'm paid by the Church of Scotland and working for that. Good morning, then. How are you? Well, not too bad. But you're here. You're here. Yes. Good morning, Mr. Good morning.
Located just a short distance from the church is Britain's most northerly shop, the aptly named Final Checkout, one of 3 grocery stores on Unst. Islander Pat Burns is one of the owners.
It's a bit of a hub in here, yeah. Usually there's a lot of people that come here. As an island, it's the shop that has everything. DIY, mainly. We have a cash machine, which is quite popular. We sell Shetland tush kits for cutting peat. You know, fuel up here is very expensive, so a lot of people are going back to peat stacks and digging their own peat. Sometimes, of course, there's no perishables to get in Lerwick, because if the weather's too rough, then the boat from Aberdeen to Lerwick maybe is delayed, and then everybody starts panic buying and as if they're never going to see food again.
This week, the islanders are preparing for one of the biggest events of the year, Unstfest. And festival committee member Pat is bracing herself for the influx of visitors.
I think it's getting to the stage where the ferries can't cope and the accommodation can't cope, so it's good. They can't get accommodation, they just bring a tent or a caravan.
Over at Westing Beach, looking out to the neighbouring island of Yell, a group of local volunteers, led by Desley Stickle, are preparing for one of Unstfest's newest events.
We're gathering stones for the stone skimming competition on Friday. Ideally as flat as possible. Various sizes, various shapes, so we're just moving stones from this beach, which is a good beach for stones for skimming, over to the beach that we're having the competition on. Hopefully we'll have plenty of people turn up. The weather's not looking too good for Friday, but fingers crossed it stays like this just now. Ideal conditions.
First time they've ever had a skimming competition, so you want your name on the trophy first.
In the 1890s, Baltersound Harbour was home to one of Europe's largest herring fleets, employing 10,000 workers in peak season. Today, the island retains its close affinity with the sea and has become a pioneer in marine aquaculture. One of the biggest companies here is the salmon hatchery, employing 32 people.
Right. This is the finished product. If you take aquaculture away from Unst and Yale here in the North Isles, a massive blow, because the only thing that's left is sheep farm. And it's vital to this community that continues.
Recently hired is Frank Roberts, whose first trade is carpentry. But Frank's real passion lies elsewhere. Frank is Unst's resident horse whisperer. He and his wife Jem run the Clibberswick Stud, breeding ponies to be sold at auction to potential buyers from across the globe.
I've always had a fascination for horses. Always. I don't work with horses, I play with them. Hey, come on.
And this year they have high hopes for one young foal in particular.
And we've got a name for her. It's the only one we've got named. We'll name her Sula.
Originally bred for the coal mines, now most ponies are bought for children or as companions for larger riding horses. But following the economic downturn, the market has recently been tough.
Yeah, we're going to show her, and then we're going to take her in October to the sale, and hopefully get her a good new home.
For Sula to fetch a good price at the sale, she'll first need to pass a rigorous judging process.
We might want something that's going to catch the judge's eye to begin with.
But every judge is different. They don't all like the same kind of pony.
She's got a pretty head. It's in proportion with the rest of her body. It doesn't look big, as I would say. I know he's a boy, but he's got a heavy head. And she's got a pretty head. She looks feminine. She's got a nice square rump. Overall, she's just a nice proportioned pony. Get the halter on her and get her halter trained.
We want them to yield to the pressure of the halter. And this will be the first time in their life they're going to be actually trapped or restricted in some way.
Quite a bit of pressure.
No. What pressure is there in it? I'm having fun.
Oh, it's a cheeky monkey.
As Unstfest fast approaches, tourists and visitors continue to arrive on the island. True Unstfest veterans, the Robertsons, are arriving home from Aberdeen and Edinburgh for a family reunion on the island.
So we're still going to finish that one
Yeah.
off.
So we'll just attach the roof, this onto the roof section. It should, in theory,
Well,
be very simple.
it should be.
Patrick and his brother-in-law Andrew are planning a construction for the biggest event of the Unstfest calendar, the Summer Carnival.
The moment between the house and two extra caravans, there's 17, or there'll be 17 of us on Saturday by the time the actual carnival is, which would be absolutely fantastic.
Unstfest always brings out something different as well. They bring in different ideas each year, and that keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
This year, the Robertsons have decided to pool their DIY skills and build a float for the carnival, inspired by this infamous Unst landmark, Bobby's bus stop.
A young fellow from up the road, Bobby Macaulay, he had the bus shelter that he waited for the school bus in. He first of all put a chair in it, then he put a table, and then suddenly he thought he put flowers on the table, then he found an old TV, and basically it grew arms and legs, and then and actually became a tourist attraction, which is pretty good going for a bus shelter.
The theme of the bus shelter changes annually, and this year is based on the iconic bird of the Shetland Islands, the puffin.
What we're planning to do is get the kids all dressed as puffins, and they'll be in the back of the trailer in the bus stop, having a party. Why not, eh? Why not?
Yeah, this is for the puffin hunters.
Back at the house, Patrick's wife Helen is marshalling all the younger cousins into making costumes and props for the big day.
You missed them. Trust me, this is going to look very like Sissy by the time we've finished with this.
Yeah, and be a bit less like a mummy. There's a prize for, I think, top 3. And we've not ever won, so we're hoping that maybe this is the year. There we go. You want to try them out? See what they're going to look like.
At Westing, on the other side of the island, other secretive plans for the carnival are being hatched.
Can you just take the hubcaps out, love?
Could be putting those on because you don't keep them on, do you?
Yeah.
Right, shall we put the hubcaps on?
Aye, and put them on then.
Travelling from their native Nottinghamshire, the guilds transported their beloved bubble car 700 miles, including 3 ferry journeys to reach Unst.
This will be part of our float. We have got some ideas and it will involve bubbles.
It will involve
The theme
bubbles.
is bubbles.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right. We wanted to bring it up to Shetland from our base in Nottingham. I think there are about 50 left on the road. This might be the first time that one had actually appeared here, certainly for many, many, many years. Quite a unique vehicle, and as you can imagine, it attracts attention because people just find it so odd. We're going to go for it, aren't we, though, eh?
Indeed.
And making a little go a long way.
Oh, look, there's Sammy's here.
Hey,
Sammy.
seals are here.
Sammy's here.
Sitting up.
Sammy the seal.
Martin and Heather, both retired school teachers from the Midlands, unexpectedly fell in love with Unst 6 years ago.
I remember saying to Heather, I booked a fortnight in Shetland. I don't know if this is a good idea. We could be just sitting in a windy field for 2 weeks. I mean, honestly, it's shocking, isn't it? I did not know anything about it.
It's very difficult to put into words, but there is something very special about this place. Weather's coming in, it's a squall, I think. I don't think it'll last too long.
Go on, Madge. Here we are. Go on, Madge. Sit down, sit down. That's it. Good girl.
Absolutely, yes.
But, you
A
know,
squall on Unst. Oh, look, the rainbow's following us. Just over there's a pot of gold.
we're back in the sunshine again, look, now.
It's not like you get in the middle of Birmingham, is it? Sorry, Birmingham.
Also keen to see if he can get amongst the medals is Minister David Cooper, who's taken a break from his church duties to test his arm for the approaching stone skimming competition.
You know that the shepherd boy David went down to the water's edge, although it was a stream then, to collect stones for his catapult before he felled Goliath with a stone between the eyes. I don't think I'm in that league. 3, still not good enough. Towards the ferry. It'll depend on the wind, it'll depend on the tide. Oh, come on, this is, this is a Lord's test match at sea. Oh, but not with that stone. Oh, there we go, that was much better.
But he can't practice for long as his parish duties beckon at Bruce Hall, a home providing sheltered housing for Unst retirees.
You've been here about 3 months now, but you've been in Unst all your life.
Yes, 94.
94 years. Well, 3 months is nothing out of 94 years, is it?
That's my mother there.
Oh, I see. Right.
That definitely is Daddy.
Dad, yes. People stopped wearing these wraparound pinnies, didn't they?
Aye, she was. I'll put on an apron.
Right. You have to follow the instruction.
Put on an apron.
Put on an apron.
With these elderly residents unable to participate in many of the Unstfest activities, Jane Macaulay from the care home is hoping to create an event to bring the festival to them.
Yeah, we have done this a few times, I think.
In previous lives, I think we've done it
Previous
a lot.
lives, yes, we've done it. And it's certainly not just for the bands. Everybody likes it. Well, I test it. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Do you think Reverend Cooper will come on this? Yay, of course he will. He's worked. It's not very dignified. We're inviting everybody on the island. We're catering for 300. We don't know how many will come. And we want to provide something for everybody. So that's why we've got bouncy castle face painting, guinea pigs ride-on toys, sandpit, duck pond, Connect 4, Jenga, barbecue, sandwiches. Just, we want everybody to come and enjoy.
Back at the Pony Stud farm, horse whisperer Frank and his son, Frank Jr., are getting ready to break in their prize-winning hopeful, foal Sula.
We're going to put the foal onto the halter for the first time. Let's see what happens, see what reaction we get. Before I can get a lot done, I need to get this halter onto it. But I don't want to do it through fear. Okay. That's it. Ooh. He knows there's something up.
Some are easier than others. Some are more nervous.
Yeah, I'll take that off, sir. You don't want to be too loud. There's a bit of it here.
With Sula resisting the halter, Frank calls in extra help from his wife, Jem.
Come on now. Behave.
That's the halter on.
Now Sula is in the halter, Frank will need to tame her natural instincts and train her to obediently walk to heel.
She's going to try every trick she knows to get away from that halter.
It's still a struggle for Frank, and he's going to have to draw on all his lifetime's experience to settle this feisty foal.
I want her to be close. When she's close to me, I want her to feel comfortable. In the past, we would have just broke them physically and mentally. That's the way it was done. We just pulled them along. I haven't done that for 26 years now. This is much better. There we go. I've always loved horses since I was a boy. I wanted to be a jockey.
Why didn't you?
Because my father come home and says, I've got a job for you. You're going to be a cabinet maker in the shipyards at Henry Robson Leith Docks. And that's when, in those days, what your dad said you did. And that was it.
He's just trying to get the foal to move a little bit towards him, putting a bit of resistance on the rope, and if it moves, then he lets the rope go instantly to make it feel comfortable again. Just slowly trying to get it to move its feet.
We'll just put a bit of feel in and see if she's going to follow my feel. That's good. Right, another bit. Come on. Here you come. Good. You know, she's not fighting so much. She's not fighting it. She's following the feel. There we go.
Quite quickly, Sula falls under Frank's spell.
Good. That's good. Yeah. I put in a little bit of feel and she gave just like that. Boom. That's what I want. It should just go like this, nice and smooth.
It's the first step in the long road to getting a good price at the Shetland pony sale in 3 months' time.
You can see her eyes going soft. Her head's dropped. She's relaxed. She's got that inside ear locked on me. That's all signs of submissive. This is an entirely different animal to what it was 10 minutes ago. Yeah? Look at that. There. Okay, we can take them back.
Back in Balter Sound, the much-awaited day of the summer carnival has arrived. The local Viking Jarl squad from Lewis Sound, who celebrate Norse traditions throughout the year, pour onto the streets of Unst as the Robertsons put the final touches to their mobile bus stop float.
It actually looks like a bus shelter.
Absolutely.
And for me and Andrew to construct something that looks like what it's supposed to look like, it's pretty damn good, I
That's a
would say.
triumph.
Yeah.
And we're desperately trying to find some puffins. It's fantastic. In the sunshine, you can't beat it.
Not to be outdone by a parliament of puffins, the Gills have pulled out all the stops with their bubble-themed float car.
So we're going to tow it and we're going to blow bubbles out of our car while we do it.
I'm forever blowing bubbles, you know that one? Yeah, we've got to play that on the banjo.
It's all about taking part.
They haven't put their hats on yet.
Oh, where are they? Good girl. Oh, yes, very good.
She's thinking, what the hell is all this about? If the RSPCA get hold of this, we're in trouble.
As the island's population swells to over 1,000, residents, neighbouring islanders and tourists alike line the streets.
I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air.
Fantastic. Great night for it. Weather stayed good as well, and that's always a bonus.
The most famous bus stop in all of Shetland. Only announced. Only announced.
The procession reaches its finale at Bolter Sound Hall, where crowds gather for the judging and the announcement of the coveted Unst Carnival trophy.
Hello everybody, thank you for turning out for the Unst Carnival.
The second place prize goes to Braveheart.
Well done, Braveheart. And the first prize goes to Horse Tammy.
Winning isn't everything. But
Yeah,
it
but it helps.
sure beats losing, that's for sure.
What a great day we've had. It's all come together. Parents enjoyed it. They've been dancing the birdie dance and singing their songs. And we won.
This year, victory belongs to the Robertsons, but there is some consolation for the Gills.
Price for the most bizarre entry. A dog driving a bubble car. I thought he drove rather well, actually, right behind us all the way. You did well, girls. You got the bottle of red wine, which are not allowed. People assumed on the UK mainland that we're sort of tending the croft. Sitting around a peat fire wrapped in a sheepskin.
No, we
You know, little do they know.
Over at Ewer Sound Harbour, at the south of the island, crowds welcome an important delivery. It's the start of the new stone skimming competition.
I prefer something round that fits in the hand, something like that. We now know that in David's day, armies had great slingshot soldiers who were highly accurate, and they must have known the exact stone to choose. Yeah.
Okay, who wants to go first? Right, name?
Connell.
Duncan couldn't be under.
Pretty nervous, but...
Please try not to hit the boats. I thought it was 10.
Up for the bragging rights are competitors of all ages. But one decides to keep his powder dry.
I don't know how these people are getting 10 and 12 leaps. That they must be staying very much on the surface of the water. They're mainly using bigger stones than I used as well.
Anybody else? Who's next?
I'll go this time and I'll throw 3.
Okay, you can throw all 3, that's fine.
Right.
Two.
No.
2.
This one will be as high as the Tyne Bridge.
2.
But they're not going far.
Very consistent.
Well, a weary arm. Not many bouncers on that at all. But great consistency with 3 stones.
As Unstfest draws to a close, everyone is congregating at one place, Bruce Hall, much to organiser Jane's delight.
Fantastic. We've had a really good response. Lots and lots of people here from the community, but from much further afield as well. And that's what Unstfest does. I think the residents done really well. Pretty much all of the residents are out and involved in what's going on. And they've been watching, and they've been laughing, and they've been eating, and of course, crowds of folk who they know. So it's a good chance to catch up as well. I think it's gone really well for them.
You're outside.
You're outside, yeah.
It's the kind of gathering that happens here because folk do enjoy being together. It's quite extraordinary.
In the days to come, Unst welcomes some visitors from afar.
like it. I think it looks more like the kids have made it. It tastes good. That's the main thing. Hi.
The island's only Eastern Orthodox nun is having a clear-out.
It's an ecumenical inter-island parish freezer.
And Frank the horse whisperer struggles with Stallion Heston.
You okay? I thought it performed very well too. Apart from knock on the bit over.